Alright guys, usually I don't do this on my channel where I really just hone in on fragrances that I hate, but we're doing it today. Alright, because I'm headed up to here, taller than I am, up to here, with some of this designer fragrance stuff. Just gotta talk about it, let's deal with it. 5 designer fragrances that I hate. Maybe hate's a strong word, strongly dislike. You can keep it there. The title will probably say that I hate, because you guys probably wouldn't watch it if it says strongly dislike. Hate is a stronger. Anyway, let's talk about it. What's going on YouTube? I'm Darren, the BowTie Fragrance Guy. Talk about fragrances. I want to make sure that you look and smell your best each and every day. If you're into that, make sure you hit subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications by hitting the bell icon as well, so that way, when I upload a new video, you get notified. Alright guys, on today's video, I'm going to be talking about some designer fragrances that I hate, strongly dislike. And I'll kind of give my reasons and my commentary for it, although honestly the reasons are quite similar for all of the fragrances that I'm going to mention on today's video. Now, if you are new to this channel, maybe you haven't gotten the word that I am not the hugest fan of a lot of the newer designer fragrance releases. As a matter of fact, designer fragrances that have been released over the last 3 to 4 years. We're gonna get into it, man. So I'm gonna run the intro, and when we come back, I'm gonna talk to you guys about what I've kind of put in the top 5 fragrances I dislike or hate. Designer fragrances, new ones that is. So if you want to see what's on the list, you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The BowTie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. Let's jump into this video. So the first fragrance, and I'm putting this one first because this one grinds my gears more than any other fragrance that I'm going to talk about today. And the fragrance comes from the brand of YSL, and I'm talking about YSL Y Elixir. Why do I dislike this fragrance? Oh my gosh, let me count the ways. First and foremost, the fragrance was, they went from producing fragrances that were in the 3.4 ounce bottles and decided to put this one in a 2 ounce bottle. Now, where did they get that idea? Of course, Dior Sauvage Elixir. But I need to make sure that these fragrance companies understand something. Just because another company does something does not mean that you should, or you could, well, you can, that you should do it. All right, listen, Tobias Harris, him and Anthony Edwards are about the same size in the whole nine, but he can't do what Anthony Edwards does on the basketball court. So listen, YSL, you can't do what Sauvage did with their elixir, okay? Because they made that in a 2 ounce bottle, but in my humble opinion, it's a lot better fragrance. All right, YSL Y Elixir. So they went from selling fragrances in the 3.4 ounce bottle for around the 120 price range to this fragrance being only 2 ounces and costing $180. That's right, the same as a bottle of Mancera, which is a niche brand. So go figure. Now I know that prices of fragrances are going up overall, but I mean, come on, to me, it's an absolute ripoff. Not to mention the fact that the fragrance, in my humble opinion, flat out, it sucks. All right, it sucks. They have a few of the same notes from the other 8 flankers. We'll get to that in a minute. From this line of fragrances, like the geranium and lavender, I think. But then they threw frankincense and oud in here. It just didn't work. It did not work, in my humble opinion. And I hate saying that because the perfumer, Dominique Ropion, is a perfumer that I absolutely love most of his work. But this one, absolute miss, in my humble opinion. And as I just mentioned, not to mention the fact that this fragrance is probably the 7th or 8th flanker, and I think this line of fragrances just started coming out around 2017-18. Come on, man, enough is enough. So the first fragrance that I hate, and I strongly that I strongly dislike is from the brand of YSL. I'm talking about yelixir. All right, guys, the next fragrance up on the list, I probably dislike this fragrance the second most behind yelixir, is, listen to this name, Valentino Born in Roma Green Extravaganza. When you start making so many flankers, you have to put so many words in there to comprise the name of the fragrance, and that's tacky. It's very, very tacky, but it's kind of par for the course when you're trying to do so many different flankers. All right, this particular fragrance from the brand of Valentino, of course, comes from a long lineage of fragrances. They have the Born in Roma line, they have the Coral Fantasy. I mean, there's so many fragrances. People start to get confused. And this one, I don't know what made them think that these collection of notes would work together. I think it's bergamot, vetiver, and coffee. Ain't wrong. It's just not good, guys. In my humble opinion, it's not good. Not to mention the fact that it's a flanker. I mean, the bottle was attractive because it has the green hue to the juice, which of course matches the name. That's cool. That's clever. But the fragrance, just bland and generic in my humble opinion. I put it on my skin before, and within about 2.5, 3 hours, it was really hard for me to detect it. So it's bland, it smells kind of generic, it's another flanker, and it doesn't perform. I'll pass. So the second fragrance that I strongly dislike from the brand of Valentino, no disrespect to these companies, they all have some great fragrances that I love, but a lot of these latest ones is a miss for me, and this is definitely a miss. Valentino, Born in Roma, Green Extravaganza. I'll pass. All right, guys, I almost forgot to mention this fact as well with the Valentino line. They have another flanker that's on course to be released later this year as well, called Valentino Born in Roma the Gold, I think it's going to be called. I'll try to make sure I put a picture of that here as well. So they're going to have another flanker released by the end of the year. But anyway, the next fragrance up on the list comes from the brand of Acqu Di Gio, and it is milliongold. Milliongold, I think this was released last week. I had a chance about 2.5, 3 weeks ago to pick this fragrance up before it really even got introduced to the stores. They had just gotten the stock in. I was talking to the sales associate there. I think I was in Charlotte. And she was like, hey, haven't even put it out on shelves yet. Do you want a bottle? It retails for $140, and it's not necessarily that the fragrance smelled bad, because it didn't, because I think the notes of mandarin, sandalwood, and cedarwood, but it's another flanker on the 1 million line, and it smelled almost identical to Santal 33. So there's nothing at all unique about the fragrance, and for me, at this point, I had just bought Louis Vuitton Lovers, which also kind of hinted at the Santal 33 DNA. So it was redundance on top of redundance for me to get that one. So if you don't have Santal 33, I'm not saying it's a bad smelling fragrance, but if you have Santal 33, and especially if you have that and Lovers by Louis Vuitton, I don't really see a place for it in the collection. So the third fragrance on the list today comes from the brand of Acqu Di Gio, and it is called Million Gold. All right, guys, the next fragrance comes from the brand of Carolina Herrera, and I think it is called Cobalt Blue Elixir. Here we go. Here we go again. Tobias Harris trying to be Anthony Edwards. Listen, fragrance companies, everybody doesn't need to do an elixir. All right? Just let it go. Leave it alone already. Cobalt Blue Elixir. Another line of fragrances that came out around 2019 and 20 has already given us 6 or 7 flankers. Bad boy, elixir, bad boy, what you gonna do? I mean, it's all kinds of flankers, man. I'm just tired of it. And again, they already had a cobalt blue. Now they got the cobalt blue elixir. Just let it go. Again, redundant, trash, pass. Next fragrance. And the last fragrance I'm going to talk about today, we may do a part 2 of this because there's more. I just didn't want to spend all day talking about this. But the last fragrance I want to mention comes from the brand of Mont Blanc, and it's Legend Blue. I like the bottle. Campaign is done by John Legend, so that's kind of cool. But the fragrance is blah. It's blah. Now, Mont Blanc isn't as much of an offender as some of the other brands that I've talked about today. So that's why I mentioned it last. But the fragrance is just so generic, man. I mean, honestly. I smelled it, and my 13-year-old smelled it. He really liked it. He wanted a bottle, but it smells like probably 20 other fragrances I have in my collection that I don't use a whole lot. Spearmint, I think spearmint is in it. It's kind of fresh. It's the same thing that a lot of these blue fragrances does. It's really nothing to write home about. The bottle is nice. You know, again, I like the whole John Legend campaign thing, but it just, as a fragrance, falls flat. I think they did the Mont Blanc Legend Red. I think we have a few others from the line. And again, they don't smell bad. It's just generic. And again, if you have quite a few fragrances in your collection, it's one that you'll smell, and it is very forgettable. So the last fragrance comes from the brand of Mont Blanc, and it is Mont Blanc Legend Blue. But that is it, guys. That is my time. What do you think about the fragrances that I talked about today? Do you like them? Have you tried them? What are your thoughts? I would love to hear from you down in the comment section. As always, I sincerely appreciate you guys' time and your attention to these videos. I know you don't have to watch, but you do. And from the bottom of my heart, man, I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure, guys, you are sharing these videos out to some other folks that you think could use the information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, Darian. I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell fantastic. So until next time, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.